And like I said, I work a 9 to 5. I know what it's like. I'm on the journey with you. But I know deep down inside that I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to build this business because there's nothing that my job can leave for my family. What is a 401k? As a matter of fact, I really don't even believe in it. I don't. I'm going to just be honest. I'm going to just be honest because there's nothing that a 401k can do for my family in my absence. It's not going to pay the bills. It's not going to pay the expenses. It's not going to provide them a better life. So if it's to be, it's up to me. Grace and peace, grace and peace. Welcome to another episode of the Legacy Inspired Podcast, where I am your host, Randy. On today's podcast, we're going to be talking about another gripping fear, if you will, and that is the fear of financial instability. That was a heavy one, a lot of syllables there. And if this is your first time joining us, I want to thank you. I want to appreciate you. On this podcast, we talk about everything entrepreneurship, marketing. Uh, we talk about online course creation, all of those different type of things. But most of all, we talk about legacy and things of that nature. Uh, Consider subscribing, consider liking the podcast. I appreciate it. But let's dive right on in. On the previous episodes, we talked about other fears. We talked about the fear of unknown. We talked about the fear of failure. Today, we're going to be talking about the fear of financial instability, of financial instability. And I can relate so much with this topic because this grips me a lot when it comes to investing in your business and things of that nature. Working a 9 to 5, trying to figure things out. I'm in that boat right now. I'm in that boat, and I'm gonna just be honest because I know in my mind that I have to invest, but you start counting up all of your expenses, and you're like, man, how am I going to work this thing out, man? How am I going to work this thing out? I know I need to. And how becomes the biggest question, not when, and it's not what, it's the how. How am I going to pay this? How am I going to how am I going to fulfill this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to work this out? All of these how become the big question that comes up every single time. You may attest to it. Uh, New and aspiring entrepreneur. You may be able to relate what I'm talking about. And so I wanted to really talk about that. This thing called the fear of financial instability. It's a common concern among new and aspiring entrepreneurs. Make no mistake about it. It can be daunting. I can't even say the word daunting. I said daunting. That is not the word. Daunting to think about leaving the security of a steady paycheck, venturing over into the unknown of the world of entrepreneurship. I mean, it can be challenging. And I feel it every single time because, again, like I said, I work a 9 to 5. I know what it's like. I'm on the journey with you, but I know deep down inside that I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to build this business because I know I can. There's nothing that my job can leave for my family. What is a 401k? As a matter of fact, I really don't even believe in it. I don't. I'm gonna just be honest. I'm gonna just be honest because there's nothing that a 401k can do for my family in my absence. It's not going to pay the bills. It's not going to pay the expenses. It's not going to provide them a better life. So if it's to be, it's up to me. If it's to be, it's up to me to figure this thing out and build something that's going to generate multiple streams of income. Streams of income. Whereas in my absence, I know that they will be taken care of financially. But that's on the other side of the fear of financial instability. That's on the other side of you getting over the fear of the financial subject, if you will. So and I'm still learning this, still working on this, learning how to reevaluate money, redefine my relationship with money. Not saying that I love money. I like money, and when I say relationship with the two on how to use it, because you and I were taught wrong. Let's be honest. We were taught wrong. We were taught wrong about money. We were taught wrong about investing and things of that nature. Man, I'm in my 30s trying to fix my credit. They didn't teach us this growing up. My mother did the best she could. Greatest mother I know. She's gone home to be with the Lord, but she did the best she could with what she had. And your parents did the best that they could with what they had. Whether you had two parents in the household or one, they did, or whether you was raised by your grandmother or raised by another relative. Maybe you were adopted, just like me, rather. I was adopted at birth. I never met my biological parents. My biological mother chose her job over me. My father chose his job over me. No, my biological mother was addicted to drugs and crack cocaine, rather. But my father chose his job over me. I still have siblings I haven't met. But in God's master plan, He allowed me to be adopted by a loving mother who never had children of her own. Never had children of her own. She had foster kids and adopted me, my brother, and my sister. We wasn't wealthy, wasn't rich, but I tell you one thing, we didn't have to want for anything. Didn't have to want for anything. But I didn't receive that education, not even in school. You know what I'm talking about. You didn't receive that type of education in school about money. You may have taken economics classes just like myself. But there was nothing taught on how money thinks, the tool of money, the value of money. We were taught, go get a job. That's the only way we can make money, by getting a job, working 40 hours a week, 40 years, retired with 40%. I'm from Michigan. There was a guy that I was talking to years back. He said, that's where GM started, General Motors. And so what he told me was very, very staggering for me. It was very, it really hit me here. Very shocking. He said, what did he say? He said, the only thing I got from GM was Cadillac and cancer. It's like, what? Only thing GM gave you was Cadillacs and cancer? And I talked to another individual who worked for the company as well. At one point, they were talking about not even giving them their pension. Like, what kind of sense does that make? That is depressing. To work for a company All of those years you gave up your blood, sweat, and tears. Failed to go on vacations, forsake vacations with your family, to pick up some tools to put a car together. Did all of that only to find out when it's your time to retire that you're not going to get a pension. How are you expected to live? I refuse to live like that, man. I refuse. I mean, you at some point you have to you have to um uh you have to wake up. At some point you have to wake up and realize, is this all that I am called to do, is to work like a Hebrew slave for the rest of my life? Man, even working a job right now, I'm gonna be honest. Yes, I'm working on my business and things of that nature, trying to put things together and that sort of thing, and got this podcast and launching this podcast and that sort of thing. But um, I don't always want to go to work every single day. I know I have to bring the bacon and eggs home, but I do know that it is only temporary. That's what I have to constantly remind myself. Constantly remind myself that it is only temporary. There's this thing called the Tarzan perspective, or the Tarzan concept, where you have your hand on your job, but you have your another hand on your entrepreneurial venture. Maybe you can adopt this into your own thinking, into your own repertoire, and just really take this concept into consideration. You got your hand on your business venture, but your other hand is on your job. And you cannot let this hand go that's attached to your job until your business takes off, where it can supply you financially and surpass the income that you're making from your job. It's called the Tarzan method. Got one hand on your job and one hand on your business venture. That's where I'm at. And I'm sure you are right there as well. But I'm just here to tell you that you can do it. You can do it. If we don't encourage each other, then nobody else will. Let's just be honest. Nobody else will. If we don't invest in ourselves financially, then nobody else will. At some point, you have to invest. We have to find it. We have to figure it out. And I understand where you're at. You're like, Randy, well, I don't have the money to invest. I understand where you're at. But my encouragement to you is to figure it out. You have to figure it out. Because if you don't, you're going to regret that you didn't do it. And you don't want to die with regret. I refuse to die with regret. I refuse to go into another year with the shoulda, coulda, or wouldas. I refuse to go into another year with regret. I refuse to go into another year with excuses why it didn't happen, why I couldn't do it. I can't. Forget a New Year's resolution. New Year's resolutions are overrated. They're overrated. It's nothing but a bunch of make me feel good for the time being. But at the end of the day, we have to hold ourselves accountable. We have to hold ourselves accountable. We have to evaluate why we are doing this. Why am I starting the business? Why am I pushing so hard? Why am I wanting to start the podcast? Why am I wanting to build out the course? The digital course that's going to that's going to allow me to help people on a greater level. Why am I starting the fitness business? Why am I starting the sewing business or the beauty business or whatever the business is that you have laid out, that you have planned out? You have to evaluate why. What does why stand for? Why stands for what's hurting you. What is hurting you? What is the reason you're doing this? Once you figure out the reason why you are doing this, use that reason to fuel your drive to get it done. Even if nobody encourages you, even if nobody pats you on the back, even if your friends don't understand what you're doing, even if your family don't understand what you're doing, even if your family is talking bad about you and talking bad towards what you're doing. That's why you can't tell your dreams to anybody and to everybody. You can't tell your dreams to everybody. You can't go to Uncle so and so and ask him what do you think about this business idea. You have to question, did Uncle so and so has he been successful in business? No. Don't know a thing, don't know diddly squat about the business. So why go to somebody who is inexperienced about the thing that you are trying to do to get advice for? You can't. You can't. Don't do that. Don't go to people that don't have your vision. They don't have your understanding. All of the books you've been reading, all of the podcasts you've been listening to. There's a reason you have been introduced to this way of thinking. Don't let the naysayers keep you from achieving your dreams. I don't care if you have to crawl, get there. Invest financially into yourself. Been there can tell you how to get there. You're going to run into a lot of been there's. I ain't been there, and they trying to tell you how to get there. But at the end of the day, you have to come up with a plan to invest in yourself. Not just books, not just podcasts, not just personal development, but there are some financial investments that we have to make in ourselves that's going to propel us to the next level. Got to. I want to read something to you, and I think it would be very beneficial. Uh, According to the survey conducted by Guided Financial and Leading Club, lack of cash flow and the ability to pay bills was the top challenge faced by small business owners in 2020. Another study shows that 82% of small businesses fail due to cash flow problems. But there are ways to conquer the fear of financial instability. One of the most important things to have is a solid financial plan, of course. a place before starting your business. This is what I'm learning here. This also includes understanding your expenses, creating budgets, forecasting your cash flow, and things of that nature. Hire your job to fund your dream. Hire your job. Use the money from your job to fund your dream. And even if you got to pick up another job, I mean, I don't encourage that, because that's a lot, man. Two jobs are for two people. But if you have to, do it, and just know that it's only temporary. Just know it's only temporary. Maybe there's a course you're trying to get. I understand. Try to figure it out. You have to. People are depending upon you. And even the people that you have not even met yet, that you were called to help, are depending upon you. So making that financial investment is going to hurt. But it's going to be for your good, and it's going to be for somebody else's good. Listen, you just listened to another episode of the Legacy and Inspired podcast, where I am your host, Randy. Thank you for lending me your ear and your eyes on YouTube, because you didn't have to. Listen, what are some of your financial fears? Share them in the comment section. Leave a comment, and let's talk about them. Let's talk about them. Let's help each other. Let's help each other get through some of these things. And you never know who you're going to help until they have been helped and they told you, thank you for helping me. But until then, like I said, these episodes are going to be building on each other, so you definitely want to stay tuned. There is another fear factor that we're going to be covering. The next one is going to be the fear of rejection. The fear of rejection. You want to stay tuned for that. Until then, I'll see you on the next episode. Grace and peace.